everybody, and welcome to another episode of 6 Degrees of Associations. This is going to be a fun one, guys. We're coming to you live in the afternoon around 4:15, so live wires all around here. We're all punch drunk and slap happy after a long day of work, but we are really excited for this conversation. Our last guest, Elizabeth Johnson with the Murray Company, so quickly referred Dan Schuberth to us, and we quickly got in touch with you, and then you quickly came right back to us. So we're super excited to be talking to you today.
Same here. Thanks, Erin.
Yeah, I hear a little bit of reverb in my voice, but we'll probably try to clean that up. So anyway, let me just introduce you. You are the Chief Revenue Officer of NAW, National Association of Wholesaler Distributors.
You got it.
And what I find interesting about this, because I always do a little peeking around, is your resume is quite extensive and really impressive and a little all over the place. So I would love to just know, like, coming from the supplier side and politics and Wharton and UPenn, I mean, bravo. What's it like now? How did this transition come around? And what are you feeling a couple of years into your role here with NAW?
Yeah, no, again, thank you so much for having me, folks. I'll say, I never saw myself coming down to Washington, D.C. and joining a trade association. I came from industry. And so I spent 13 years of my life up in New Jersey with a great company called McMaster Carr, where I learned every element of the distribution business. I've managed finance, sales, warehouse operations, and eventually I landed in HR. I drew the short straw right before the pandemic hit in March of 2020.
Somebody's got to do it.
Well, no, look, I ended up leading our HR operations, and needless to say, it was a different year than the one I anticipated. So, so funny enough, you mentioned my political background. I've been involved in politics, both on the campaign management side in college and after college, but then as an elected official back in New Jersey. And so I've always really, really enjoyed the idea of public service. And when I saw an opportunity to come down and join NAW, really to kind of combine two passions. I love distribution, I love operations management, I love people management, but also I'm interested in influencing policy and really supporting the whole industry. This job opportunity really came together in a way that was perfect. And so I am a card-carrying member of the Great Resignation. I did not see myself leaving industry at any point, but here I am almost a year later down in Washington, D.C., and I'm really enjoying the opportunity here.
It shouldn't be too much of a surprise then, now hearing all that you landed with us here in Washington. Come on. It sounds like you were destined to be here, and you landed at a great association, a national association representing tens of thousands of members. Your background, your influence there must be substantial. Where are you sort of channeling your focus these days, and what's getting you up in the morning?
Well, I'll tell you, this has been an incredibly exciting time to join NAW. And so our association transitioned leadership back right around a year ago. So I came in 2 or 3 months right after our new president and CEO, Eric Hopland, took over. Eric took over from Dirk Van Dagen, who had run NAW for 40 years. So that's pretty unheard of, as I'm understanding, in the trade association world. But here's what we had when we walked in. Great association with a sterling reputation in Washington for being a really, really effective government relations organization and being a place where the largest, most successful distribution companies came to network and educate themselves. And we said, man, if we just cruised and kind of let this thing run for a few more years, we're still running a pretty good shop. But we came down here to transform the trade association and really build this thing up to be dramatically stronger on the government relations side, grow revenue and grow membership. So we truly represent the entire industry and every corner of the industry. And we want to launch programs and services that are really helping our members grow their business, learn and educate themselves about the problems and challenges that are right around the corner, and really help brand the distribution industry as a fantastic place to work and a critical component of the American economy. And so we've been at that for the last year, and it's been a pretty wild ride. But look, members are joining every day. We had a really successful executive summit where we brought together the top CEOs and executives from the entire country to Washington, D.C. for one of the first big in-person events we've had in years. And so the industry is excited. It's been a great time to be in distribution, but we're busy here, Lucas. How about that?
No, always busy. And the reputation, as you said, is great. I love the idea, though, that you came in from industry, from more of a business focused mind, not the association background where it's okay, let's let it bump along. No offense to anybody who's letting it bump along, but a little bit. Let's do something energizing. Let's actually grow, add some business influence, talk about operations and scale. And so I'd love to jump in with you a little bit and talk, pre-show, I'll call it. We talked a little bit about your technology marketplace and how you're leveraging some partners in your industry to help those that are joining the membership, as you mentioned daily. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I'll say the biggest thing, and you probably talked about it with a number of other association leadership guests. When folks are joining trade associations today, these are not social clubs, right? This is not an Elks Club or the Masons or anything like that. Like, people are joining these associations for return on investment. People are looking at their membership. They've got a lot of associations out there. They've got a lot of opportunities to invest their dollars. They want to know that their association is going to return investment to them in the form of education, growth and development opportunities for their leadership team, dollar and cost savings, technology investment. And they're looking at us at the end of that first year renewal and saying, all right, Dan, you had a good conversation with me a year ago about membership. Let's look at the ledger here and tally up the benefit done for you lately. Right? Yeah. And so there is a real desire for us to focus on not just the networking opportunities, which is an important part of what we do, not just the government relations, which is also very, very important, but more so direct investment in helping members grow their business. That's probably the number one thing we hear from our members. And so, the biggest problem or challenge, and really it's an opportunity right now in our industry, is that distribution had a really good couple of years, right? Anyone who's been on lockdown has totally appreciated the fact that, store shelves are stocked, home deliveries are made, hospitals are supplied because distributors went to work when the rest of the economy shut down. And we provided the food, the medicine, the goods, the services, the materials to kind of keep the American economy moving. So we're riding high after demonstrating our value. We've also benefited financially from what's been a pretty strong economic recovery since the depths of that pullback. And so a lot of distributors are saying, well, look, it's been a couple of good years. I've got a lot of working capital right now to deploy. I know I've got to invest in technology because it's hard to hire people. Labor is at an all-time shortage. Yep. I'm investing a lot of money in inventory right now with inflation going through the roof and the supply chain still under a great deal of strain. I need to invest in technology to help me grow what historically in our industry have been pretty thin margins. I know that's the way to go, but I'm not quite sure where to start. Yep. And so the role NAW's tried to play is, number one, we bring together some really great thought leadership. These are folks who are technologists, folks like myself who have industry backgrounds, folks who have employed and developed and actually implemented solutions in private companies across the country. We've got a great stable of folks like that offer wonderful seminars and webinars and thought leadership courses to help people think about where they might want to invest. And then we're bringing in technology companies that are offering solutions to all scales and all sizes of distribution companies. We are performing a vetting service to help companies understand what's good and what's not. There's quite a few folks that are developing solutions, but maybe it's not right for the industry. And as a result, we positioned ourselves as a technology accelerator for the distribution industry, and we're seeing some really interesting results on that front.
That's fantastic. I want to pull on the thread a little bit of the vetting, because I literally just talked to a national association a couple of hours ago who went into a sourcing opportunity with their AMS, and this is not an uncommon story. They get 6 months into it and find out, well, this is a mess, right? Sure. And so it's really, really important that the vetting process on the front end of a technology partner is done right. So can you talk a little bit about what does the vetting process look like in that marketplace for a partner to be, sort of endorsed, if you will, by NAW?
Yeah, and look, I'll say right up front, there is no one size fits all solution, right? You think one distributor, but one distributor, right? So every company is in a different stage of development, has very different philosophy when it comes to make versus buy when it comes to technological solutions. But all that said, number one, we start with what problem are we trying to solve, right? And that's the genesis for any problem solving process. Right now, those problems are, finding the right ERP, moving from a homegrown system over to an enterprise resource allocation process, inventory management, procure to pay and cash to order processes, recruiting, right? So think about all the different components of running a good distribution business, and you jot down the list, and people are looking for solutions in each one of those. So start with what's the problem you're trying to solve. Then you take a look at, well, what's the benefit of solving that problem? Are we talking, a significant reduction in headcount through automation? Are we talking tons of dollars saved through the elimination of credit card fees and other hard costs, right? So you try to line up and say, problem with a really attractive benefit for solving that problem are kind of the first two places we start. Then we go to the marketplace. And in the past, we've issued things like RFPs. We've defined the problem set.
Right.
We've defined the benefit we're looking to get. And we've gone to the marketplace and said, hey guys, come to the table if you have a solution that can meet this criteria. And we'll get dozens of companies that come to the fold with a variety of different solutions. Now, not all those companies know distribution. And I think that's probably the most important piece is we're looking to source industry-specific solutions. There's plenty of things out there on the ERP side, the CRM side, that have been made for manufacturing or retail. Distributors are looking for products and services that really are tailored to their specific needs. And so for us, that's a huge criterion. Now, some of these companies have developed solutions because they have recognized the importance of the distribution vertical. And so I use Infor as a great example. They've got a great distribution division within their ERP team that is solely focused on distribution, right? And they've invested heavily to learn that segment. And so they have solutions tailored to that. You've got other companies that have started up that have said our entire focus from the get-go is going to be about distribution. Both those paths are totally fine, but that's a really important design requirement for us. And I'll say the last step, Lucas, is, before we go to market, and we really start talking to our members about solutions that we think are going to be right for them, we want validated and vetted case studies from other distribution companies at scale. And so for us, hearing from distributors is the most important component for really any of our members that are going to look at this technology. They don't care what Dan Schuberth thinks about Infor. No, they want to know that Gustav A. Larson or Animal Supply or Grainger or another one of our members has used this solution, have applied it at scale, and have found really significant results either on the hard cost and or the soft cost side before they're going to take a look at it. And if you think about it, once a solution or a company has gone through that pipeline, that's a pretty rigorous process. It's going to be a lot easier now for a company to say, well, I'll give those guys a shot and we'll do our own due diligence. But at the end of the day, they're going to give them a look because they've been kind of thumbs up by NAW, and they've been thumbs up by a company they trust in the industry that understands their business.
Well, again, NAW carries a great brand. And so for that, and because you're Dan, they will listen to Dan. But the endorsement really from their fellow colleagues and members, that is really the real stamp of approval. Like those case studies are gold, and they can pick up the phone, call those organizations that they're co-members with, and get the real lowdown. So I think that's huge. And then combine that with the thought to put together a thought leadership group that specifically helps target these companies. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we're going to keep doubling down in that area too, right? So we're putting together focus groups that even go a little bit deeper into some of the topics that are really top of mind. So think cybersecurity as a great example, right? Every distribution company that's thinking about investment in technology is also thinking in the back of my mind, well, oh my goodness, as my scanners come online, as we integrate cloud-based technology, all the things that we're supposed to do as a forward-thinking company, well, we're only increasing our vulnerability. And it seems like the answer is investment is never enough when it comes to how much do you invest in cybersecurity protocols. So
you also have a partner there in-house, I believe, that could also write the policy if they would just want to further protect themselves. No,
100%. And look, Gallagher's been a tremendous asset on that front, right? So look, at the end of the day, pick your topic. We've got a great group of people that are thought leaders on these topics that can help people learn and grow. Our distributors are changing and trading war stories all the time about what's worked well for them and what hasn't. And then we've got a stable of technology partners ready to swoop in and help once you have a decision about where you want to go and sort of what sort of solution you're looking to source.
Yeah, fantastic.
I have 16 more questions, but I've never had a moment where I didn't get to ask more questions. But
we ran right over Aaron for a second. Sorry. Aaron.
Yeah, we're gonna just push right over. I've got a couple minutes that I can maybe spare here, but my guess, I'll do the parting shot just because I know we've got to wrap up to be respectful of your time and ours. What's really interesting to me here is that people would normally look at this and think, oh, they're here to serve wholesaler and distributors. But what I'm hearing is that really you end up being a service also to technology partners because you're helping them get closer to their audience and helping them better understand the industry that they need to be working in. And it seems like a really great matchup where you're serving the entire ecosystem of your clients as opposed to just serving the clients, which I think is unusual. A lot of service providers get in on the associations to be able to talk to, the core members of the association, but this seems to be a very different tact. And I really think it's pretty cool that technology and innovators could come to you and have a safe harbor there to sort of experiment and learn the industry in a helpful way. So that seems pretty interesting. Am I getting that right? That you're sort of really looking at the ways to partner with them?
Yeah, and I'll say this, Erin, like our job first and foremost at NAW is to support our members, right? These are the companies that have placed their trust in NAW. But I'll say secondary to that, our job is to support the entire wholesale distribution industry. And the way in which we do that is by shining a light on the importance of this industry, right? We're a $7 trillion portion of the American economy. We've got over 30,000 companies in our orbit. We employ more than 2 million people in the United States, right? So this is a place where there's a lot of folks working. There's a lot of lives and families we can make better by helping these companies run more effectively. And one of the ways we do that is by saying, guys, we want the best and brightest technology companies on the planet, Google's, Oracle's, you name it. We want those folks to take a look at distribution and say, my goodness, there's an opportunity to really up the game of this entire industry. So there's some very targeted and strategic investment. And so for us, we're waving our arms saying, hey, come invest in distribution. It's going to rise every single boat and every single company that's in our space. And that ultimately is going to be better for the American economy and better for the American people.
Yeah, hashtag elevate the industry. I think, Erin, in the blog following is a big emphasis here. Like, well done. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, you can serve the members by serving the industry. It's one and the same at a I'd say a grander level that will ultimately better everybody that's involved in the industry, not just the members, the suppliers, and maybe even ultimately somehow the consumers. So that's fantastic. Well done.
It is. It's really cool. And the energy that you bring to it. I mean, I was just at a leadership conference this morning where the speaker was talking about why are you here and what are you doing, and I think that really being able to see that every industry has such an enormous part to play in the overall economic picture, like, and being able to build that importance for individuals. It's wholesale, it's like, no. 2 million people in this country are employed with 30,000 companies. Those numbers that you spouted off, it's just a really important thing for people to remember that, every industry really does matter. And this is a really critical one right now. And as you said, we've all known that over the last 2 years, right? I'm not sure I would have wanted your stress level with going through this pandemic just to see how it's all going to work out, and maybe still with the supply chain issues and everything, but exciting. Well, we could have certainly talked to you for another half hour, just even to keep our energy up at this time of day. So we really appreciate you coming, Dan. We always have any shows where we ask you for a reference of someone else that you think might benefit from coming on the show and that our audience could benefit hearing from. So do you have anyone that you think maybe we should talk to?
Yeah, I'll say in the spirit of talking about investment in technology and distribution, John Perez is someone who I'd highly recommend. So a little bit of background on John. John's the CEO of a financial technology company called Unified Payments Group. And John fits the mold of exactly one of those companies I was describing. About 5 years ago, John came to NAW and said, hey, I think I've got a great solution for cash to order processes. Automating that, getting rid of AR and AP departments, helping companies issue electronic invoices, taking care of the back end payment processing, all the stuff that frankly is still done on pad and paper in many companies in our industry. John said, hey, I really want to go deep and learn distribution. I'm going to make an investment with NAW in learning the industry, and we're going to tailor solutions specifically to your member companies. And John has been just an outstanding force in our industry. He's got some blue chip companies that he has just totally transformed with his technology, saving millions and millions of dollars a year. And so I think in the spirit of kind of dovetailing off with what we talked about, John be a great example of a company that's gone on that journey with NAW, and we're real proud to have him as a partner.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, we can't wait to talk to you. Well, Dan, again, thank you so much for being here today and for just bringing that A game at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
No problem at all.
We appreciate it, Dan.
Absolutely. Thank you both. And thanks for inviting me. This is a real pleasure.
Our
Absolutely. Pleasure. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Take care.